Hey, this is your girl, Jewel Tanker from the Jewel Tanker Show on Impact Network every single Saturday. Or you can check me out, The Tankers, on Prime Amazon with my family and I. Or check out me and my sisters on Chatter Talk Show on Fox. So me and Dr. Dee Freeman, Real Talk Kim, Monique Eilert Mosley, and Holly Carter. And you're listening to Rudy Radio.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Acupuncture is My Life show. Now, I hope as a result of the past few episodes, everyone has learned something with regard to acupuncture and how it can potentially be diagnosed. Now, I know I have quite a ways to go, but I basically, for starters, want to cover the functions of the main internal organs in the body, so that once I'm done with that and I begin discussing different diseases and how it's diagnosed in the eyes of an acupuncturist and what internal organ and meridian of that internal organ is deficient or in excess, at that point you should have a very clear understanding of how it all comes together. And just simply having a basic understanding of yin and yang will, as I go on, make things a lot easier for you going forward. Let's just say you have your moments of you feel as if you're overheating. It's so hot. That can be a sign of yin deficiency, because yin is cold, yang is hot. But when it comes to the theory of yin and yang, and I'm just doing a little review, a quick review. When it comes to the theory of yin and yang, when hot and cold are in balance, you're warm. You're at normal body temperature. And there's no room for disease or ailment. And that's what yin and yang is all about. Just like you can go through periods of feeling extreme cold limbs, that can be a sign of yang deficiency. Okay? Because yang is hot, but if it's deficient, yin can be at its normal level. But because it appears as more than yang, you're going to feel cold. So an acupuncturist would put together a treatment protocol to nourish yang. And hopefully you guys understand that. If not, just take a second and think about it. And then go back to the yin and yang episode and listen to it again. But you see, the same rule, the same law applies for the yin organs of the body as well as the yang organs of the body. And remember, the yin organs are responsible for nourishment and creating essence, I'm so sorry. And the yang organs are responsible for the excretion of wastes. They serve as hollow organs. Foods and liquids pass through them. Essence is derived by the yin organs to nourish the body. And the yang organs play a part in that transformation as well, especially the stomach. And then the yang organs excrete what the body doesn't need. Now today, I'm going to get into the basic functions of the liver as a yin organ, as how is seen by an acupuncturist. So before diving into discussing the functions of the liver, I need each and every one of you to attempt to block your understanding of the Western concept of the internal organs completely. And hopefully, now that you've done that, you ready? Now, to an acupuncturist, the functions of the liver is a bit different from how your physician would view it. Because you see, to an acupuncturist, the liver stores blood, as well as it ensures the smooth flow of qi throughout the body. It controls a person's sinews, which are the tissues that connect your bones to your muscles. And the liver, to an acupuncturist, opens into your eyes, and it's affected by anger. Now, remember I said these, okay? Because I'm going to build on it in a few minutes. Now, many understand that the liver is responsible for storing blood. Now, let's go a little deeper than that, and let me get you to understand that this function, that being the liver being responsible for storing blood, has 3 sub-functions to it, which are: the liver regulates the volume of blood in the body at any given time. 2, it regulates menstruation, which is the organ in which an acupuncturist would basically place great emphasis on when treating women with menstrual problems, because we're aware of this. And also, the liver moistens a person's sinews. As I'd stated, that's the tissue that connects the bones to the muscles to the bones, as well as it moistens your eyes. Now, when I stated earlier, the liver ensures the smooth flow of qi. Qi takes on many forms and is responsible for many functions. And it's the liver which is responsible for the flow of qi throughout the body to function and move in a smoother manner, or a smooth manner. Now, this function is considered its most important function of all others, because you see, the smooth flow of qi throughout the body affects so much. Let's take, for instance, a person's mental and emotional state, all the way to how an individual digests foods. Now, another function of the liver is it's responsible for a person's capacity for movement. I say this because the liver is responsible for the state of an individual's ligaments and tendons. You see, if liver blood is sufficient, a person's sinews will be sufficiently nourished and moistened. And this is also understood by an acupuncturist when it comes to the eyes as well. Again, if liver blood is sufficient, the eyes will be moist and vision will be good. Now, when it comes to anger as an emotion and the liver, when a person is constantly frustrated or carries a lot of resentment, or they repress their anger, liver qi, the qi of the liver, will begin to stagnate, which ultimately affects the smooth flow of qi throughout the body, whereas an acupuncturist would to clear the stagnation, or they would look to clear the stagnation and restore the smooth flow of qi, which is how this goes back to what I stated earlier about how the flow of qi can affect your mental as well as emotional state. But there are also patterns that come with the functions of the liver. So when there's something wrong with, let's say, the liver meridian, or just keep it at the liver as an organ in the eyes of an acupuncturist, remember, I want you to always remember the 2 most important functions of the liver are that of ensuring the smooth flow of qi, as well as storing blood. Those are the liver's two most important functions. Now, the smooth flow of liver chi, as I stated, influences all organs and the flow of chi throughout many different parts of the body. Like, let's take, for instance, the spleen. Because the spleen and stomach is your core. It resides in the middle jiao, and it's responsible for all postnatal chi or post-heaven chi that's created after birth. So basically, all of your energy is derived from your spleen and stomach, which is in the middle of your body. And liver chi assists the spleen to transform and transport food essences, and the stomach to rot and ripen food. Now, I'm going to get deeper into the functions of the spleen and the functions of the stomach in future episodes, okay, so that you can get a better understanding. Because with the spleen and stomach being your core and responsible for all postnatal chi, what happens here is, with the food and liquids you ingest, the stomach transports and assists in transforming the food where essence is derived from it. And the spleen, and I'll talk about this in future episodes, spreads this essence in the form of nourishment throughout the body so that you can have the energy that you need to do what you have to do. And the chi of the spleen goes up. And now the stomach takes the remains and discards it. So stomach chi goes down, spleen chi goes up. And liver chi influences all of this. And if you're a little confused, it'll come together as I continue to go along. Not so much as just in this episode, but by the time I'm done explaining the functions of all the organs and then get into diseases. But you see, liver chi also helps spleen chi to ascend, as I stated, and stomach chi to descend. Okay? And that's just an example of many in how the liver's chi assists with the flow of chi of other organs. That's why I said, keep in mind the main function, the most important function of the liver is ensuring a smooth flow of chi throughout the body. Now, I want you to keep in mind that although the liver ensures the smooth flow of chi, this is very important. The liver plays no part in the actual production and supply of chi. That responsibility belongs to the spleen and stomach. Okay? But the liver can affect production and supply of chi if it becomes stagnant. Now think about the example I just gave you with the spleen and stomach and how it assists the spleen and stomach in producing chi and essence. Think about the example. The liver assists the gallbladder. The liver assists the small intestines, large intestines, kidneys. The liver's chi assists all internal organs in the body. Now, when it becomes stagnant, production and supply of essence and chi of every organ becomes affected. See, the most important and common pattern relative to liver chi is stagnation of liver chi. Okay? Once it stagnates, problems develop. And acupuncturists know how to diagnose this particular pattern. Now, how can a person tell if they're experiencing liver qi stagnation? They would tend to feel, let's say, distension in the hypochondrium area of the body, like under the rib, especially the right rib area near the liver. They'll feel some distension. There'll also be distension in the chest, epigastrium, or the abdomen. There'll be a lot of sighing. It'll present with melancholy, depression, moodiness, fluctuation of mental state. They'll also feel as if they have like a lump in their throat. And then when it comes to women, there'll be irregular periods, distension of the breasts before their periods. There'll be some premenstrual tension and irritability. Those are some of the ways, if you think about it from the world of an acupuncturist, those are signs of liver qi stagnation. And what tends to cause liver qi stagnation are usually problems in the emotional life, which is by far the most important cause of liver qi stagnation. And when I say emotional, like when you're experiencing anger, worry, and sadness, other causes can be, let's say, an exterior pathogenic factor, or your diet, a bad diet, or even blood loss. Now, when liver qi stagnates, it can turn into heat. And now more problems are developing. Unless you address liver qi stagnation right away, see your acupuncturist right away. If it's stagnant too long, it'll begin to turn into heat, and you'll start to, again, you'll continue to experience hypochondrial distension, slight feeling of oppression in the chest with irritability, depression, moodiness, and you'll continue to feel a lump in your throat. But now there'll be a feeling of heat. You'll notice you have a red face, thirst. Now there's a propensity for outbursts relative to anger. And there'll be premenstrual tension in women, irregular periods, and heavy periods. Now, it's not just emotional stress that contributes to liver qi stagnation turning into heat. Now, in this case, it can be due to diet, like, let's say, an excess consumption of hot energy foods, such as spices, red meat, even alcohol can facilitate the development of heat from qi stagnation. In this case, liver qi stagnation. And there are several ways to deal with this. This is one of the bigger patterns that come with dysfunction in the liver organ, and allows for an acupuncturist to see and diagnose and know that it's relative. This is tied to the liver qi stagnation, because when you're worrying too much, or there's too much anger, there's too much stress in your life, the liver qi will stagnate, and then it'll present with the symptoms I just stated. But then it's not just emotions again. It can be the foods that you eat. Alcohol, red meat, hot, greasy foods. That's when it begins to metastasize into liver qi stagnation, turning into heat. Now, guess what? Another pattern of the liver can be rebellious liver qi, where the way you would know you're experiencing that is, again, there'll be hypochondrial distension, hiccups, sighing, nausea, vomiting, belching, and a sort of like churning feeling in your stomach with irritability. And again, women will experience breast distension. What's the cause of rebellious liver chi? Again, emotional stress, that being anger, frustration, worry, and resentment. Those emotions can cause liver chi to rebel. Also, diet. Now, in this case, it's when you eat in a hurry and you're under stress, or you're eating while you're working, or you're getting upset, you're getting mad, angry around mealtime, or you eat standing up. This can all cause liver chi to rebel. Another disorder or pattern that can tie to the liver is liver blood stasis, where a patient would present with hypochondrial pain, abdominal pain, there'll be vomiting of blood or epistasis, painful periods. Now, epistasis is bleeding through the nose, and you can even see that when you blow your nose softly, but there's just a lot of blood on the tissue or the napkin. There will be painful periods for women, irregular periods, dark and clotted menstrual blood. Also, infertility, masses in the abdomen. A good example of that is like fibroids, purple nails, purple lips, purple and dark complexion with dry skin. These are the symptoms that tell an acupuncturist the patient is suffering from liver blood stasis. And I get a lot of patients that come in for fertility treatments. And once I understand firsthand it's liver blood stasis that's contributing to the infertility, I ask questions regarding hypochondrial pain or epistasis, vomiting, discuss their menstrual cycle, so forth and so on. And a lot of times it ties out, and I understand the cause of their infertility. And at that point, I usually smooth out the flow of liver chi, basically move blood to eliminate this stasis. And I've had experiences where, like, a few months afterwards, the woman would conceive. Now, it's not only the liver that would or could play into infertility. It could have something to do with the kidneys. It could have something to do with the stomach and spleen. It varies. So don't just hold me to it's a liver pattern as to why a person can experience that. Now, another pattern of the liver as a yin organ is the liver fire blazing. Now, these are all progressions from liver chi stagnation. This is where, like, simple emotional issues can really get out of control. And the thing is, at the Acupuncturist My Life clinic here in New York City, we have a psychotherapist on staff. And a lot of people go through certain issues, certain psychological issues that require both psychotherapy and acupuncture at the same time, and they work well together. Because as a person experiences liver chi stagnation, that's the milder stage, and they look at it as, this is something I could get past. I'm just mad for the moment, or worrying about something for the moment. And especially in today's time where there's a lot of uncertainty that goes along or correlates with worry. And boom, I'm seeing tons of patients at my clinic with liver chi stagnation. So I'm hoping all of this is starting to come together. Okay? And some individuals don't address it right away. But guess what? If you were seeing an acupuncturist on a regular basis for wellness visits, they would catch it almost the same time you would, treat it, and you wouldn't even know it. And this happened tons of times. But now, when it gets to liver fire blazing, there's like, again, irritability, propensity to outbursts of anger, tinnitus, your ears will be ringing on the inside, there'll be deafness, temporal headaches, dizziness, red face, red eyes, thirst, bitter taste in the mouth. That's a key symptom. Because I get tons of people that'll come in and ask, Doc, why am I experiencing bitter taste in the mouth? Some instances it's due to liver fire blazing. There'll be dream disturbed sleep, constipation with dry stools, dark yellow urine, epistasis again. Okay? And I picked this up during intake, and I know, I have to clear the liver meridian, and I have to drain the fire that exists. And I'm not talking about literal, like, oh my gosh, there's a real flame inside of the liver or liver meridian. It's just that there's excess heat. It's just hot. It's like the equivalent of like standing in fire. Now another can be damp heat in the liver, which is fullness in the hypochondrium, abdomen. There'll be, again, bitter taste in the mouth, but it'll accompany a sticky taste. There'll also be a poor appetite, nausea, feeling of heaviness in the body. Females, yellow vaginal discharge, vaginal itching, vulvar eczema or sores, mid-cycle bleeding or pain, redness and swelling of the scrotum in men, genital papilla, or why am I stumbling on my words? I need some tea. Vesicular skin rashes and itching. And there'll be difficulty urinating, and there'll also be, let's say, like a burning sensation. Further progression, liver qi stagnation. Now there's damp heat, and some of this has to do with the diet. It's not just emotion when it comes to damp heat in the liver. There can be emotions involved, along with what you're eating, such as like excess consumption of dairy foods, greasy foods, because an irregular diet tends to lead to dampness. So now guess what? If you haven't dealt with your liver qi stagnation, your emotional issues, and then you're just eating away the stress, this is what can come of it, damp heat in the liver. Now you have problems, and you need to see your acupuncturist. Those are some of the full patterns. An empty pattern can be liver blood deficiency, where there's dizziness, numbness, or tingling of the limbs, insomnia, blurred vision, floaters in the eyes, diminished night vision, scanty menstruation, dull pale complexion. This is an empty or deficient pattern. And an acupuncturist, this diet can play a part due to poor nourishment, along with emotional stress, excessive physical exercise, or even blood loss. So these are 4 contributing factors to liver blood deficiency, where an acupuncturist will know to tonify the liver and basically nourish blood. Okay? So there are several patterns, which is why I recommend that you sit with an acupuncturist or contact acupuncturist, my life. Because there's so much to learn about the human organism and how to keep it balanced from a state or the theory of yin and yang. Because yin and yang being balanced is the equivalent of homeostasis. All right? Now I want you to unblock, your understanding of the Western concept of the internal organs, and allow what I just spoke of to sink in, to prepare you for your first visit, for when you see your acupuncturist, or even your follow-up wellness visit. Because you can't go wrong. When you're doing annual physical exams with your physician and regular wellness visits, worrying about your health now comes off your shoulders and you'll feel that much lighter. It's best to incorporate acupuncture into your life because they're great for helping managing disorders as well as doing away with certain disorders. Whether it's pain, chronic ailments, autoimmune conditions, the best thing that you can do in life is make acupuncture a part of your life because acupuncture is my life. What's yours?